What's going on, guys? This is Jason of Auglitical. I swim through the politics so you don't drown too. I am just a man trying to bring common sense in a world where common sense isn't so common. So let me sit here and say right off the top, no man, woman, or child should be brought to violence or be killed because they disagree with anybody's opinions or worldview. It makes absolutely no damn sense. Period. Today, Charlie Kirk, sorry, I'm sorry. Yesterday, Charlie Kirk was at a college campus, I believe, in Utah, where he was assassinated um, in public, in broad daylight. And it's fucking horrible. It's absolutely terrible because to sit there and for this to happen, I mean, it's not unheard of in American history for something like this to happen. But damn, man, like and sadly, it's not shocking. It's not when you really think about it. How many times these individuals that get upset because you don't bend the knee to their ideology call for violence, or when these individuals ally themselves with people who are radically violent, is it really surprising? They already tried to assassinate the president 2 or 3 times in the last year. Is it really surprising? If they couldn't get the president, and by luck they didn't get the president of the fucking United States, what makes you think that they won't get a person who goes to colleges and debate and puts himself in public typically often with less security? What makes you think that that wouldn't have been a possibility? So, anyway, Charlie Kirk is now gone. And I'm seeing, of course, people on the left, the far leftists, celebrating. And they're celebrating this because they do not see people who do not bend the will to their radical worldview as human. This is the reason why they sit there and they're so disrespectful. This is the reason why they're quick to lash out violently, because as far as they're concerned, violence justifies the means for them. The reason why they try to dehumanize people who don't, you know what I'm saying? We have to sit there and respect the person's pronouns that shot up a goddamn school, but it's okay for them to kill people who don't agree with them. It's so silly. It's so silly and so ass backwards. But I'm also seeing on the far right, accounts that are trying to use Charlie Kirk's death, which not even 12 hours ago, they were sitting there saying it's blacks that's the problem. But they never, ever, ever bring up the fact that every assassin attempt that has happened on U.S. soil has been done by whites, that every school shooting in recent memory, for the most parts, whites. These trans shooters, they try to sit there and try to completely erase the fact that overwhelmingly the LGBT is or trans people, let's just say trans people, are whites. They don't want to acknowledge this. Blacks have a crime problem. 100 fucking percent. All groups have problems. Why is it so hard to understand that yes, while blacks do commit crime, and you can put any group of blacks that you want to put, or put Africans also with Caribbeans together, we'll take those, sure, right? More prone to violent acts because it's normalized and it should not be. 100% need to fix that. But we need to fix that together. Just like whites, we need to figure out this LGBT shit that's being pushed on children, or why there's so many trans shooters going, so the trans shooter epidemic, right? 9 out of 10, no black person shot Charlie Kirk in fucking Utah. But this is not a conversation these far right accounts don't want to have. So let's look at a few things. So Lauren Boebert was on the Congress floor recently. I believe this was last yesterday. And when Charlie Kirk died, she said they wanted to do a moment of silence for Charlie Kirk. And let's see what the Democrats responded with.
What purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise?
So Lauren Boebert right now is calling for a moment of silence. That's what she's calling for. A moment of prayer.
Let's wait a minute. Wait a minute. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. The House will be in order. We. The House will be in order.
Imagine the House going in an uproar because a man who at this time is in critical condition, they probably knew he was already dead. And yes, Charlie Kirk did die. If she's asking for a moment of prayer, a unifying moment, and the left, the Democrats, are sitting there yelling, saying no, because any other time they have absolutely no fucking problem wasting time making more money than people who work their ass off will ever make. Their job is so important that they purposely make sure not to even be there in person to pass bills. They even escape their own. They escape these meetings and run out on these meetings. But here's where we are. We seriously need to have a conversation about just how bad it is and how many of these people are in places of power or positions where they're able to change how things should be. These radicals, these people who are just morally gone. And I'm not talking about being on the left or being on the right or being religious. I'm just saying decent individuals. There's too many in our schools, in entertainment, in sports, in law. All of these fucking different things, they're all over. And we allow these people to take over these positions. MSNBC.
Which then
Talk to me about the environment in which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. We don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea.
We don't have any details. We don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration. Do you know how fucking crazy that shit sounds? We have no details, but I'm just gonna fucking shoot off the cuff and say something crazy that could fit the fucking narrative that it's never ever the problem that we have a mental illness problem or we have a political violence fucking problem from the left. No, no, no. We're gonna make up some bullshit that it was a supporter of his that shot Charlie Kirk in the neck in celebration. The fact that these people hold any, like they're in media, the fact that these people even exist is crazy. But let's continue because this is not the only dumb thing that this individual said on MSNBC.
About this. But following up on what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. And I think that's the environment we're in, that people just, you can't stop with these sort of awful thoughts you have and then saying these awful words and not expect awful actions to take place.
Matt.
And that's the unfortunate environment we're in.
He says unfortunate environment as he starts smiling about thinking about it. Let's be real here. What this man just said is because Charlie Kirk is saying certain things that people don't like, his hateful thoughts led to hateful actions. In other words, Charlie Kirk deserved to be killed. In other words, Charlie Kirk deserved to be killed. Again, it is not surprising when you have individuals, mentally ill individuals in the United States or anywhere in the world, right, who come to these conclusions that violence is the only way. Because if they don't get what they want, they need somebody to attack. And here's the thing, they would not stop if they had their way, because they had their way for almost a decade. And their violence during that time was it didn't stop. They just kept pushing. In fact, they were committing violent acts, unprecedented, mouth dry, unprecedented, unprecedented, and was going uncontested. Remember the whole, oh, they attacked our capital or whatever. Trump incited a riot, all of that shit. You know how many cities lefties were taking over completely, and none of them were arrested, and they weren't just taking over them cities peacefully in single order or any of that shit. They were violently taking over city buildings, and nothing was done to them, uncontested. Let's continue. This is an anesthesiologist who's celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination.
I'm just really glad Charlie Kirk just got himself fucking shot, because he's right. Empathy is dangerous to society. So no one should give a fuck that he's dead. He said it. I'm just saying his words. All I'm doing is using his words. You can't be mad at me for using his words. I think empathy is a new wave thing and is very problematic. You right.
Don't you love it when people take people's words and spend them? When Charlie Kirk was talking about empathy is dangerous, he was talking about batshit insane fucking individuals like this fucking individual right here. In the sense that this individual right here will sit here and claim to be empathetic towards a person who's a 5 time, 6 time, 7 time, 14 time felon, because she believes that that individual who has never contributed to society and who is a menace to society deserves a redemption story. Oh, these people are just coming over looking for a better place to live, and the first thing that they did was groom children, was predate on children, was commit violent crimes. That type of empathy is dangerous. In the UK, when you have a whole council of women covering up grooming gangs for 2 fucking decades, we need to be sensitive to their worldview, because where they're coming from, they don't know no better. After 2 fucking decades, these individuals don't know no better. No, you're trying to play on people's sympathy. In fact, perfect example. Last night, I'm outside around 5:10 in the morning. And around 5:10 in the morning, I'm chilling. And a lady comes up to me, white lady. She comes up to me and she has that little fucking ugly poodle dog. You know, the fucking dogs that got the bullshit, like they're all white, got the beady little black eyes, of course. With all that bullshit on their fucking eyes, like all that black shit. I hate them small dogs, right? She comes to me and she tells me that she's scared to go inside of her building because there's a man there and he's trying to he's doing weird shit with the bikes, like attacking the bikes or trying to break into the bikes. So I go with her over to see the dude. I see the fucking dude. I shit you not. Black, not African, not fucking Caribbean, black. I say it's like Gator. I immediately know he's fucking black by the way he talks and all of this shit. Also, probably mentally ill, homeless, crackhead build, right? Skinny dude. He looked like the fucking dude from Courage the Cowardly Dog. If you know, you know. Return the slab. That's how he fucking looked. And I told him, look, man, you don't belong here. We don't know who you are. You need to go. You need to go. That's it. So he's talking shit, but he's walking away from the premises, and this is all good. When all of a sudden he starts getting more and more aggressive, I tell the lady, look, I told her immediately, yo, go inside of your apartment. She didn't want to go inside of her apartment because he was there being fucking ridiculous. And he came from an area where you're not even supposed to be in that area to get inside of the building. Right? So never seen him before. He's in an area where he's not supposed to be. He's fucking with the bikes. Also, did I mention he had a half a eaten watermelon in his hand? So he had a half a eaten watermelon in his hand. I believe he had something also. He probably had a weapon like a razor, a box cutter. It was orange or whatever like that in his other hand. And I saw this. And he turns around, he's getting aggressive and he's standing up. And I'm like, look, man, you need to go. I think he started getting a little bit more aggressive to see how far he could push it, to see if I would back down. Eventually, he throws the watermelon at me. Before the watermelon misses me, I popped him. I wasn't giving him I wasn't taking no chances. I wasn't giving him no chances. I've seen enough. I popped him. He sits there and he says, "Oh, you can't do that," and some bullshit. And the first thing he said to me was I going to call the cops?" And I said, "If I have to, I will." I guess that when he realized that I didn't call the cops immediately, or wasn't calling the cops, then he sits there and says that I can't do what I'm doing, which is removing him from the fucking premises of where we live. Absolutely can do that. You don't fucking belong there. But after all of this shit happened and I cracked him, he stumbles a little bit. I leg kick him. He falls over. I'm standing over him. I'm making sure he's not getting the opportunity to do anything. But it comes out of his mouth, "Oh, you look like me, or we're black. We're supposed to look out for each other." This was the word. Like, this is the empathy thing, right? The only people who use that shit are fucking criminals or people who enable the criminals. It's not people who want to do better. And me telling this individual multiple times to leave as he's on the floor, and he's getting the courage to, talking more shit, calling me all types of nigga, all of these things. Eventually, I had to smack the shot of him. He gets up, he's leaving, but he's talking shit. And this is what we're talking about, right? These people play on your vulnerabilities of your emotions, right? He wanted to see if I was scared of him. Then he wanted to play that he was crazy, because he even said it multiple times. "You not crazy. Something, something, something." I said, "I'll show you crazy." And I smacked him up across his face after telling this man, giving him ample time to leave. But before that, even trying to play on someone's empathy, right? And I just want you guys to notice something, right? And I gotta do it to him. And I gotta do it to him because listen, I got absolutely nothing against any race of people. I don't got nothing against whites, just the racist whites. White people, stand back. I gotta put the Aryan race whites in their place. I just want you guys to notice something. Overwhelmingly, the ones supporting this are white people. Charlie Kirk's death, the ones supporting it are white people. White women, especially. But shh. We're superior. Shh. Noticed it? It's the fucking whites. We don't want to address this. Every group has fucking problems. Every group commits heinous crimes. There's just different levels to this shit. Blacks commit violent acts. We know this. But it's so fucking normalized at this point, but we don't go extreme with it. Not very often. Not very often. Whenever somebody ends up getting killed by a black, let's be honest there, more than likely 30 times before it ends up happening to a white person, it happens to a black person. And this is the reason why I do not shed no more tears than I would for a white person than a black person. Because I know for a fact, just like you guys get upset with, "Oh, whenever it's a black or white, the story disappears and this is wrong." Do you know how many fucking black people get killed by blacks? And do you think that all of those black people that got killed were criminals and gangbangers and menaces to society? But the second it happens to a white person, here we go with the bitching and whining. And I call it bitching and whining because these people don't want to solve the problem. They don't care about the problem. They just want to bitch and whine. And that is by design. They want whites and blacks to be at each other's throat the way it is. They want people, as such as the poor and the rich, to be at each other's throat like this. I've said it so many times on this channel. It's the fucking elites that keep us divided this way. They do it because they have an agenda to push. And as long as they can keep the status quo, they can keep making money because they will never ever run into a situation where they end up getting assassinated like that dude in New York City got assassinated by that fucking that terrorist, right? Because they're not even in positions where they got to even go out and do shit like this. They will never have to publicly go do that. But they got their hands in everybody's pocket. They don't need to be the richest. They could just write laws and make influence laws and pass shit that works in their favor. Meanwhile, individuals like me gotta consistently deal with the mentally ill, the criminal element. But the world gotta stop because some fucking white girl got killed in was it a bus or a train? Again, 100% shouldn't have fucking happened. I hope that shit stain gets killed for that. I would love to, I would not love to see, I would love for that shit stain because it's an open and closed case to be killed for that. In my perfect world, that's what I want. In my perfect world, the shit that happened with Charlie Kirk, right? Because let's be real here. There's way too many things that happened during that whole thing with Charlie Kirk. That's just fucking strange. The shooter shot him. There was somebody in the crowd jumping up and down, excited. Yo, somebody in the crowd, when Charlie Kirk was killed, when Charlie Kirk was shot, was jumping up and down for joy. Not scared, jumping up and down for joy. Again, we really, seriously fucking need to have a conversation, and we got to start removing these fucking radical people off of these streets across the country. They got to go. There's too many of them now. They're these fucking parasites. This infestation, it's too many of them. But before that, you had some white guy sitting around with a replica gun, I believe, saying he shot Charlie Kirk. And then come find out, no, he didn't shoot Charlie Kirk. He was running interference. And why I say he was running interference is because that old guy that the police arrested initially, apparently in the past, was arrested and released in the past because he was also saying that he was going to kill somebody for political means. Again, I listen. If it ends up being a trans person who assassinated Charlie Kirk, I wouldn't be surprised. If it was a white person, I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if it was a black person that did it. I would. But all the same, find out who was involved in this. And here's the good news. Before anyone gets their panties in a bunch, Utah still honors death by firing squad. Now, I don't believe in breads and circus, but I do believe in order because everybody benefits from order. And we need fucking order now more than ever. I'm not calling for fucking violence like some individuals do. They'll call for violence, but they don't got no solutions. Looking at you, white Aryan race. You know, you want to get rid of every other group, illegal and legal, to get your country back. Insane shit. Right? You're calling for violence in X, Y, and Z. I'm calling for order. Now, if not violence, but if strength has to be shown from time to time, there's a big difference in just senseless violence. Anyway, any fucking way.
Do you support his death?
Treated sick.
Do you support his death?
I do.
You support his death?
Fuck Charlie Kirk.
You support Charlie Kirk being killed?
Yes, I do.
On the day he died, you're here at a vigil for Charlie Kirk and you support his death.
Do you support a Nazi?
No, I don't support a Nazi. Charlie Kirk wasn't a Nazi. You support his shooter?
Yep, sure do. It's for you.
You support Charlie Kirk's shooter?
Sure do. He did us all a favor.
Would you shoot somebody like Charlie Kirk?
I would have killed him myself.
You would have killed him yourself? Okay. Do you have a job here in Seattle?
Nope. I take that for a living.
Treated sick.
Do you
Again, I'm just gonna sit here and say this. Are those blacks? I gotta point this out because you have certain people that they really love to pretend that their group is perfect. I'm sorry, dog. That shit is crazy. I just want to look at some of these comments real quick on this. One man, instead of seeking, yeah, this is the fucking dude that I was talking about. Look at this shit. One man, instead of seeking cover, turned to the shooter and celebrated. How did he know it was safe? Does he know the shooter, or was there some other explanation? Personally, my opinion, the old guy who first got caught, who was sitting there and confessed to doing the shooting, that motherfucker wouldn't have been let go. I need you to understand. We talking water boys level of interrogation, because there is a chance, that this shit was planned, and he maybe had something. He maybe knew something about it. But look at this: in a situation where you just seen him, and I listen. Unfortunately, if you have not seen the video of Charlie Kirk's death, please don't seek that shit out. Listen, as a kid who used to grow up on Rotten.com, if you know, you know. Please don't look that shit up. That shit is, oh my fuck. Like, that was the first thing I saw when I woke up. My leg was hurting because after I gave that motherfucker the leg kick earlier that morning. I woke up trying to get something to drink and I couldn't move my leg. My leg was hurting like fucking crazy. I opened my phone. The first thing I saw, and it wasn't from a left leaning account. It was from a far right account. The far right account I was looking up. It said something about Charlie Kirk died, and I scrolled down. It says suspect. I thought it was the suspect of who killed Charlie Kirk. It's Charlie Kirk sitting down and his whole neck exploded. Anyway, don't look it up. You don't need to look it up. Anyway, look at this. Charlie Kirk was just killed. Everybody's crouching down. Look at this. Again, white man. White man. Pay attention. Race baiters, race accelerationists. Are you noticing? Are we noticing pattern? You love to do this, right? Pattern recognition is not racism. Remember this? Sometimes you gotta put their fucking faces in the shit. But look at this, is fucking crazy. It's absolutely fucking crazy. Our country is sick. It is. It is sick because for too long we allowed the mentally ill and the criminal element to run unchecked, and now we have a cancer in this fucking country. Crazy. Only people with mental illness are celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. Oh, so he works for Croup Tricks. This is the mongoloid fatso that was harassing people at the Charlie Kirk Visual in Seattle. He's only doing it because he wants his TikTok numbers up and obsessed with money. It doesn't matter if he's only doing it for fucking money. None of that matters. I don't care if he's only doing it for money. You know who else does horrible things only for money? There was an individual named Johnny Somali, right? Some fucking Somalian going around also using black people to drag black, again, black people got enough fucking problems, but I am so tired of people using black people to drag while they're doing fucking horrible things. So he's sitting there, he's wearing a Make America Great Again hat as he's going to other countries and making all these other countries see us as terrible fucking people. Blacks and America by proxy. And I think now he's doing like 40 years in Korea or some shit. Good for him. The eyes are all we need to see. We know those eyes anywhere by now. Democrats are a domestic terrorist organization, yada, yada, yada. Again, fucking terrible, 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 terrible. Shit like this should not be done. Like, shit like we should not have to go through shit like this in a civilized society, you know? But we are where we are because we allowed it. That's how I look at it. We allowed it. So Angela Simon, and the reason why I'm bringing up Angela Simon right now is because Angela Simon was one of the first accounts that I saw as soon as I woke up and about the whole Charlie Kirk fiasco. And Angela Simon is a co-leader of British First, the UK's fastest growing patriotic and nationalist political party. For those of you that don't know what this means, or at this point, just like how they started going around, oh, I'm so tired of black fatigue. I have so much black fatigue. You know, all of these white racists sitting here talking about they have black fatigue, right? Because whenever a white person ends up getting their shit clocked or some bullshit happens to a white person, which again absolutely should not happen, they sit there and cry and whine and bitch and complain while their local government and the government is doing them fucking filthy. But they completely forget that the first line of all of this shit that's happening happens to blacks, right? So the nationalist movement, if you hear somebody sitting there talking about they're a national, they're just fucking racist. It's no different. It's sad because I'm pretty sure there was another meaning behind before it and all of that shit. But now they use it just like how you have communists that use democratic socialists. So Democrats don't run it for the hills. They immediately say that they're democratic socialists, but they're just communists, right? It's a soft way to get it. It's a soft way to use the thing. But anyway, so Ashley Assignment says, right, and this was the account that I saw. And Ashley Simon said a day before, this was the day before Charlie Kirk died, deport the illegals and legals. Britain must be reclaimed. Again, do you know how fucking insane that sounds? You had us in the first half, right? If you sat there and said deport illegals, 100% that makes sense. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. You have every right to. Deport the legals. And the funniest thing about this, and this is like a reoccurring thing with white people, is that and it's happening in America too, right? Well, you'll have white people sit there, they're like, all the blacks are going back to Africa. And it's like, bitch, blacks don't belong in Africa. In fact, the inception of America, blacks were here. Blacks was here. Blacks have no fucking ties to Africa. Our whole bloodlines start in America, more so than many of you fucking second generation immigrants that came over after blacks and whites in America spanked the British asses over there. But now you're sitting here talking about your lands, your white countries, maybe Europe, not America. But okay, sure. She reposted, Ashley, when a career criminal ODs on fentanyl, America descended into riots and our own British Prime Minister took the knee. Yet a completely innocent young white woman was murdered by a 14-time black offender and the MSM stayed quiet. You are not angry enough. Well, do you get angry whenever a random black person is killed by a black? Or you probably don't even hear about it because that story is completely covered up. See, again, my heart will not cry more for a white person and or a black person because at the end of the day, we're all being done filthy. Or should I care, whine, and bitch and complain because white people are being killed as well when it's been happening to blacks? Really? You know what's funny? There was a post that recently said, "Oh, black people are finally waking up. What Trump is doing in D.C." And it's like, newsflash: not all blacks are fucking criminals. In fact, 1 out of every 24 blacks tend to have a criminal element. The others are not fucking criminals. You know what the problem is? Just like how you hate the fact that America gives money to Ukraine or Israel or Gaza, and we should be protecting our own borders, and we're doing all this extra shit we have absolutely no business doing. When the American people were suffering, we was out here giving money to the world, but all of this shit, and they couldn't even give people stimulus checks if that's what they were into. It's no different than you sitting there trying to sit there and say, why don't blacks come together? Because the second blacks come together, you don't like it. Or let's put it in another thing: blacks have came together before. Remember the Black Panthers? The Bloods and Crips was formed out of that same thing too. You know what the problem ends up happening with that? Corruption, right? And guess who's stuck in the middle of all of that bullshit? Normal blacks. The ones who don't do crime, the ones that just want to go home to their family, be left alone, type shit. But when you're releasing criminals into the black communities or the Spanish communities, because we're mixed at this point. When you're releasing criminals into the cities, when you're releasing the mentally ill on the streets instead of putting them away in ivory towers where they fucking belong with checks and balances, then you're getting upset. because it's spilling out into other areas where you don't want them to? Really? Really? I guarantee you right now, just like how that white woman was killed on that train or bus, I'm pretty sure there's 3 stories of black people being killed by blacks. All the same. And again, it's fucking terrible, but this is where we are. Anyway, I'm going to bed before I get myself locked up, and this is a person who's running for office. I'm going to bed before I get myself locked up. I hope we as a people take away from this tragedy. And then today they typed no mercy. But before they typed that, they said this is absolutely heartbreaking. Charlie Kirk's children are too young to understand why they don't have a father anymore. Heads need to roll for this. Absolutely no mercy. So let's just sit here and be honest here when it comes down to this Angela person, right? This Angela person, right, is like the way that they talk is very inflammatory, right? The way that they speak, they are just trying to incite pretty much. How do I put this? Heads need to roll for this. No mercy. The way that they talk, that's the person you want to go behind. See, there is a difference between order, and if you need to present power to get order, that's one thing. But what this individual is doing, and what any far right individual is doing, is they're calling for violence with coded language because they're hoping that some shit pops off, and they don't have solution. Let's be real here. They don't have solutions. But anyway, Ashley Simon says Charlie Kirk's life mattered. Heartbroken for his family. But before she posted that, she put it up. She reposted a tweet saying, "White men, wake up or die. Your choice." Now I'm gonna keep it a buck with you, dog. I'm not a violent individual. I'm capable of violence. I had a family member post a picture of my mother when she passed away, right? Like in the casket. I was 3 steps away from laying that individual out. Because in their head, they didn't understand that that was disrespectful, right? Sitting here saying that you're heartbroken for his family, but then as you can see, I had to blur out the picture, right? So I saw the picture, and this picture right here is the woman who was killed on the train and Charlie Kirk after he was assassinated. And in this picture, you can see the blood still coming out of Charlie Kirk's neck. And you repost this, talk about you're heartbroken for his family. You're not fucking heartbroken for his family. You don't even care about fucking Charlie Kirk. All you care about is your alliance to him, which only runs skin deep. Because that's as far as it matters to these type of individuals. Charlie Kirk is a prop for you to continue to push your hateful agenda. Pay attention, whites. I'm teaching you something here. These are not the people you want to follow behind. Absolutely not. Because these people, when they decide to close ranks, and they will because they always close ranks, you're not going to be radical enough for them. You're not going to have enough hate in your heart for those people. You're going to find out real quick these people are the monsters they claim to hate. Crazy. Now, going to the rest of this, because this is actually fucking crazy. Again, pattern recognition is not racism, people. This individual is this individual. Thoughts and prayers, you Nazi bitch. Hope the bullet's okay after touching Charlie Kirk. Again, this is the individual. This is their tweet. This is an elementary school teacher employed by DODEA teaching on Fort Bragg, the service members' children, posting an unhinged rant condoning violence and celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. She says, he was a garbage human. I won't mourn for him 1 second. I feel for his family. Having your partner and father of your children die isn't something I wish on anyone. But I suspect we are at a point where things are going to have to get ugly, get messy, maybe even violent to change this dumpster fire of a country. Now, let me just sit here and say this. Saying this for me. Kristen does not like men. This is giving misandrous vibes. Is that the way that the girls use those terms? This is giving I hate men. But this is a teacher working on a military base. Having your partner and father of your children die isn't something I wish on anyone. But I suspect we are at the point where things are going to have to get ugly, get messy, maybe even get violent to change this dumpster fire of a country. Working on a military base while hating the country is insane work. The way we've always done things, boycott companies you don't like and make sure to vote in the midterms is not enough. If only that was all you guys were doing. At this point, I question we will even have elections. And excuse my language, but fuck the high road. I'm tired of being the bigger person while the other side destroys the world to line the pockets of CEOs and oligarchs. So again, let me just sit here and say this. All of the shit that she's saying, this fucking person is not in reality. Because that's not all they do. I'm just sitting here saying it. Charlie Kirk recently said that he thought gun violent victims and mass shooter victims are a reasonable price to pay for the Second Amendment. Fuck that guy. Ironic, isn't it? I love when these fucking reality benders sit here and they fucking flip and change shit. Okay, if we got rid of our guns and we got rid of the Second Amendment, the government, the big daddy government that you vouch so hard for, would have you under their fucking boot. And we've seen this with COVID. We've seen this across the pond. We've seen this in other countries where they're not able to defend themselves. Are you fucking kidding me? Again, they're very selective on what they know. They're very selective on what they understand, and at the same time, they will use your words against you every single fucking time. Right? At no point has Charlie Kirk ever sat there and been like, "Yeah, gun violence and mass shooter victims is fine. It's reasonable. It's okay." He's never done that. Shit's sad. Yes, finally, someone on my timeline is being honest. Pay attention. Pay attention. Christine. Christine. Pattern recognition here, guys. Shauna. Pattern recognition. My white Aryan race. I don't even know if that's a white person. I don't know if that's even a person. That might be a person who ate a person. I don't know. Jasmine Morgia is a suicide prevention coordinator for the Colorado Department of Health. Here she is justifying the killing of Charlie Kirk. Your taxpayers pay her salary. Any comment? If you haven't said anything, God damn it. All right. If you haven't said anything about the countless mass shootings, school shootings, or shit about ICE raids, Palestine, Black Lives Matter, please stop dragging black people into your crazy bullshit. Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with blacks, but I know that they use that shit to try to bring blacks into their bullshit because whenever they need to push something, they always use black people. And black people just say they're like, motherfucker, I'm going to work. What the fuck I got to do with this shit? I got shit to do. Stop bringing black people in your bullshit. Just stop it. Get some fucking help. Look at all of this shit. Black Lives Matter and the violation and rights of LGBTQIA folk. How many okay. Folks, women or folks without access to shelter, food. What? Yo, there's so much to this. There's so much to this. Or folks without access to shelter, food, clean water, but want to talk about how we should not feel or react to how a pro-gun, pro-violence dude. First and foremost, pro-gun, yes. Pro-violence, absolutely not. Charlie Kirk has never advocated for fucking violence. And it is insane that people over here claiming that him disagreeing with them is an act of violence. It makes absolutely no fucking sense. But again, That's the fucking twisted world we live in right now, where if you disagree with somebody, not only will they sit there and lie on your name, they will try to dehumanize you so that they can kill you. But then again, remember, this is how they kill. This is how these people, just in case you don't believe me, this is how these people kill babies. Because they don't even view them as babies. That's why they dehumanize them. What do they say? It's just a clump of cells. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? Anyway, pro-violence dude died via gunshot. Literally, shut the fuck up and talk to yourself. Do some self-reflection and interrogation on why you speak up for a white man who spews horrid shit against every marginalized community. No heart, please. Look at who and what you're speaking up for. 89 likes. She, her. Suicide prevention follow-up coordinator. Insane. Absolutely fucking insane. Absolutely fucking insane, dog. Anyway, that's the video. I will catch you guys next time. Stay safe out there, guys. Peace.